Well, this week we're going to talk about copper as we continue down the micronutrient trail. Copper, the periodic chart guys got this one a little bit right. They got the C part, so that makes sense. I have no idea, unless I misspelled copper, where they came up with the U. But hey, give them some credit. They're scientists, not very good spellers. That's why I didn't do real well at science and chemistry. So. But it is a cation, so it's going to bind to the soil. That's typically why we don't worry about copper. Again, you may be looking at a soil test, say, hey, I don't have that on my test. That's typically something we test extra for. But it is important in chlorophyll and seed production, and you see that in a lot of these micronutrients. It takes all these nutrients to contribute to overall yield. The good news is they really don't get taken up at high rates and removed at high rates. So typically we're not looking at deficiency issues. Our soils do a good job of providing our copper for us, especially in your sandy loams, clays, which are predominant soils throughout Nebraska. We can run into some copper deficiency issues when you get into some of the light sands. You get into that 5 to 4 CEC soils, kind of the really light Valentine sands, kind of the sandhill type sands. We can run into some deficiency issues. We've seen that there in the past. The other end of the extreme is really high organic matter soils, which typically we don't run into. But you get a 4% organic matter or something really high, we can see some issues there, and that's pretty rare around here. But every now and then we see, there's always the exception to the rule. Again, like I say, with all these micronutrients, the best way is to start with tissue sampling and just make sure that we know we have a deficiency in the tissue samples. That's our best tool. Looking at soil levels. It's really about, are these getting in the plant and are they available? Are they being mineralized? Because typically our soils do have enough. So obviously we use the tissue sample to confirm that we actually have a problem, or if we see a visual deficiency. There are dry copper products available, copper sulfate being the most affordable and common one that we use that gets you good availability. We like copper sulfate, don't use a lot of it, but that's usually our go-to to address some soil needs if we're low. There are liquid blends, micronutrient packs that do have some copper in them. It's hard to get a lot of copper in those products just because mixability and just trying to get elemental pounds and the expense of the liquid form. So there are some liquid options out there, but typically we go with the dry. So just a little bit about copper. We're quite a ways down the list on where we start working with growers on building a fertility program, but this is one of those that if it is a problem, we do need to address it. With that note, we would like to see you in person next week at our annual meeting. Look forward to seeing everybody. Standing behind a camera and not interacting with people is not really my cup of tea. So look forward to seeing you. Look at social media. We got sign-up forms. That'll be next Tuesday. And look forward to seeing everybody in person if you can make it out. So with that, we'll wish you a good week and a safe, prosperous one at that.